Hey, what's going on, guys? We're back again with another video. Sorry for the technical issues with starting the stream today. I had some troubles with my camera. As you guys know, when the Manchester United game happened, Jesus took Dallo sliding to the shops, and my camera had some technical issues thereafter. It took me a while to fix, but I'm back, and I thought I'd do a great reaction for Kai Havertz scoring his first goal against the Arsenal. I'm with a special guest today, and I'm really looking forward to this discussion. But there are still some things we need to talk about more serious than the 4-0 victory on the road away at the Vitality Stadium. Hi, Rory. Hope you're well, and shout out to everyone in the chat. Thanks for tuning in. I know it's really late. Hi, Charlie. In the UK, so I expect not everyone's going to be watching this live. If you are watching on the replay, do make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and check out my previous videos. I am sorting out the channel still to make sure it's more organized and easier to find my previous live videos. Arsenal win 4-0 away on the road, keeping a clean sheet for David Raya, who's now at recently securing his place in the starting 11. With that being said, I'm still happy with Ramsdale, and I don't care who's in goal as long as they're having a good performance and a dominant display. With that being said, Arsenal centre-backs Gabriel Magalhaes and William Saliba dominate the defensive back line with a defensively solid performance against Bournemouth. Cook wasn't cooking anything, and Billing was nowhere to be seen. Bournemouth, I think they really struggled against us, and Arsenal played in second gear. We weren't challenged. Before I get into this match reaction and bring in my guest for the stream, let me go ahead and run back that intro real quick. Hey, what's going on, guys? So I am back doing a Arsenal 4-0 Bournemouth video after Arsenal destroyed Bournemouth on the road away from home. And I think we've all come to the consensus that if Arsenal play on the road or at a neutral ground, we would show a dominant display like the game against PSV, similar where we took it on and we didn't concede. We didn't make silly mistakes leading to goals, individual errors leading to goals, that is. And now let me just bring in my guest, Luca. We're going to go over the lineup. We're going to go over Kai Havertz getting his first goal for the Arsenal, and also some injuries, concerns we need to talk about, as well as moving forward and ahead of that Man City game coming up next week. Hey, Luca.
Big up, man, and thank you very much for having me on and keeping well.
Thanks a lot for having me on. I'm really happy to have you on my channel as a guest. And Arsenal are unbeaten in 7 games so far this season. I can't say all of the performances have been convincing, and I know you'll agree with me that only some we've actually had dominant displays and convincing performances. But what do you think of this Bournemouth performance, and more importantly, Kai Havertz getting his first goal and Arsenal fans making a chant in support of him? Hopefully he gets his confidence boosted and able to maintain that for the rest of the season. I was really glad to see Saka and Odegaard, take the initiative of telling Jesus, let him take the second penalty. He really needs a goal. They knew how toxic it was getting in the fan base with Kai Havertz hitting 007 and not performing for 7 game weeks, not being able to get on that score sheet. What do you think of the performance? Who was your man of the match? And let's get straight into it.
For me, look, I think it was a fantastic performance. Not going to lie. I think my man of the match had to be Martin Odegaard, because Martin Odegaard for me was absolutely fantastic. The way he was moving, the way he was showing that dynamic, creating so much space. But I don't care what people think. People might say to me, oh, yo, it's only Bournemouth. It doesn't matter who it is, right? Odegaard for me was absolutely fantastic, because this goes to show he was my man of the match, and other players individual. Big up to Kai Havertz, man. And I say this on my channel, right? I say this on my channel. The people, the viewers, whoever watch my channel or not, right? I said, right, because I couldn't do a match reaction yesterday, right? And then unfortunately I watched the game back because I didn't watch it live. And Kai Havertz, for me, he played very well. and he got the penalty. And what I liked about the players, right, is that the way they actually gave the honours, they gave a really good appreciation to Kai Havertz, which is very good. And this is why, as a football club, right, we have changed as a football club, and the mentality is there, right? And that's what I want to see. Like there's a connection. And yes, it's only against Bournemouth, but I think it was a good performance. Overall, I think it was a very comfortable performance by Arsenal. But let's not get too carried away, right? We will appreciate Kai Havertz has done well, right?
Yeah.
But the fan base have got to realise, right, it's only a penalty. But however, he done really well. And I keep saying it on my channel, I give him till January or 10 games. Yesterday, he played well and he proved me wrong. And for me, he gets a very good round of applause because he was brilliant yesterday, right? And the whole team were very good now. And we had to win that game. It is a very good weekend by Arsenal. Last weekend in the North London derby, we should have lost that game. But
yeah, it was a really tough matchup, the North London derby. And I think Spurs, I hate to say it, but I think they were the better team, or they just got lucky with our errors from Jorginho last week. This week, let's go into the lineup, shall we, and go from there. Before we get into the lineup and some discussions with who took place to start, who took the first names on that starting 11. Chelsea's perspective, thank you very much for the super chat. And he says, always happy to meet live, my friend. Chelsea's perspective, I was on your channel 2 seasons ago when Arsenal were in the dumps, and we really struggled to see the process turning into progress. So if you guys want to check out my interview there, it was not positive at all because Arsenal still had a long way to go. We had Socrates, we had Mustafi, we had Kolasinac. We've came from the trenches defensively, and to see where we are now with defensively solid players, it's a huge improvement. Mind you, we have spent a lot of money, and I agree with this comment by Tyrell. He says we still have to win something this season, though Arteta needs a trophy, 100%, and that's where the standards and expectations should be. Progress doesn't happen overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day, as the saying goes. With that being said, with the money we've spent and the players we've shipped out, the players we've got rid of, the contracts we terminated of Nicolas Pepe, I wish them all the best. I did hear about Tierney having an injury, a really big injury in Real Sociedad's match this weekend, and I wish him a safe recovery. With that being said, I also think we do really need a trophy this season, whether it's the EFL Cup, whether it's league, whether it's even the Champions League. I'll take it. I know we did win the Charity Shield, but we have to add to that, and we have to continue to build from that. And that January transfer window is crucial to buy a striker, whether it's Ivan Toney, whether it's Ollie Watkins, going for someone like Neto, who we've been linked to. But we'll get into transfers closer to that January window. Right now, let me go ahead and share my screen for the lineup, and we're going to go into some discrepancies I have with this starting 11 that we use. Hopefully this works if I'm able to share the screen. I don't think I am right now. My StreamYard settings wasn't set for this week. I'm sorry, but I'm calling you out. Were you hiding last week? What do you mean hiding? No, my camera broke. I wasn't going live. My camera had broke, and now I'm using my laptop too because the camera was acting up, but the quality is so different. So no, I wasn't hiding. I'm not that type of player. Sorry, Luca, I'm having trouble sharing the screen, so I'm just gonna read it. It was Raya in goal, and then the defensive back line is our traditional back line of Gabriel, White, Saliba, and Zinchenko. Midfield 3 of Rice, Odegaard, and Havertz, and then Saka, Jesus, and Nketiah. My concern in this lineup was, two things. Smith Rowe appeared. Hi, Mary. Thank you for tuning in. Smith Rowe played against PSV, had a good cameo appearance. Same thing with Reece Nelson. We gave Reece Nelson a new contract in the sense that he's going to play and be the backup to Bukayo Saka, so that Bukayo Saka isn't breaking his back or, overworking himself, carrying this team on his shoulders, literally for the first season that Arteta was here. Smith Rowe and Saka were the joint top goal scorers. And now Smith Rowe's kind of fallen into the dust. I understand he had a serious injury, but for him coming back from injury, getting minutes against PSV, we saw him getting cameo appearances, and then all of a sudden he's dropped just because of the price tag we paid for Kai Havertz. I understand the significant price tag we paid for Kai Havertz, but my point is everyone should play for their place in the starting 11 and not just, get a place in the starting 11 because of the high price tag we paid. That's my concern with this lineup. I would have preferred Reece Nelson to start or Smith Rowe rather than seeing Kai Havertz, Saka, Jesus, and Nketiah. And then going back into this lineup, this is what I want to see. I want to see Jesus on the left, or Jesus down the middle, and Nketiah on the left. Nketiah seems to do best when he's on the left-hand side. Some people are still questioning Nketiah when he's missing sitters week in and week out. But that's not to say that he's improved a lot this season compared to 2 seasons ago. And I think in January, however, I would cash in on Nketiah if we were given the opportunity to get Ivan Toney. Luca, going in with this lineup, and the subs were Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, Jacob Kiwior, Mohamed Elneny, Jorginho Vieira, Smith Rowe, Nelson, and Leandro Trossard. Did you have any complaints or concerns with the lineup? Were you happy with the lineup?
What, the Brentford game or the Bournemouth game?
Sorry, the Bournemouth game.
Bournemouth game. Look, for me, I looked at the lineup. The only issue I really had was why was Kai Havertz playing? Because I was at the training ground on Friday and I saw the team bus. And technically, Declan Rice, Saliba, and Saka travelled. And I remember I put a tweet out on my Twitter, and I said, why would you want to risk Declan Rice where you could rest him for that big game against Manchester City? But he looks absolutely fine. He got proved to be wrong. But I'm very amazed with the lineup. I thought Mikel Arteta would have actually put in someone like a Reece Nelson after his performance. Would we have actually needed someone like a Declan Rice? And I still think if we didn't play the likes of Rice and Saliba, I reckon we still would have won the game. I don't think we would have won 4-0, maybe a 1 or 2-0. But the lineup for me, it proved it. Kai Havertz stepped up. He played very well. And off the ball, he was very good. He got the penalty. The players gave him, and we couldn't ask anything for more. It was a great performance yesterday. And this is the thing now. This is the big test, right? People might say, right, and this is something where people are forgetting. We're going to find out where this Arsenal side really are when we come up against Man City next week. Because Tottenham last week, yes, over the years, we do beat Tottenham at the Emirates. But obviously last week, we only got a point. But next week's the real test, okay? Because our home form, right? This is what I don't understand. And I remember you told me after the game yesterday that why is it that we're not performing at home, but away from home, we seem to have a very good organised team and expand that Arteta knows how to organise. But we're going to find out where we seriously are if we want to go on and win the Premier League. And that 200 million will prove not just only to win the league, right, is to go and beat Man City. Because the last time we beat Man City in the Premier League, don't include any cup competitions or Charity Shield and that, was 2015 was the last time we beat Man City, right, in the Premier League. And for a size, for a club like that, how we've improved back then to now, right, we should be challenging with Manchester City. And we did challenge last season, right? And we were very close to win it. But if you want to do that same situation, and I look at this season compared to last season, this season, Bournemouth in the Premier League was our best performance of the season. And I know it was only against Bournemouth. No one expected us to score 4 against Bournemouth.
Could you say, like, I think Bournemouth sorry to interrupt. I think Bournemouth, you can say the whole 90 minutes we had a convincing performance. Man United at home, I think the first half we were good. The second half we kind of switched off there. Fulham, Fulham wasn't necessarily a walk in the park game either. The Charity Shield doesn't count. It wasn't a league game. PSV was Champions League, doesn't count. Again, different competition. When it comes to the league, and I think this was the first 90 minutes, and I know it's Bournemouth, but this was the first whole 90 minutes where I saw that we had a convincing performance, where from midfield to the attack to the defensive solid performance, we didn't have any individual errors leading to goals. We dominated, and we finally showed how making clear-cut decisions will get you 3 points on the board. And early on in the first half, we were 2-0 up. Bukayo Saka gets the header. Second goal is a penalty because of a foul, and Martin Odegaard slots the penalty home. Arsenal are already 2-0 up. Kai Havertz takes the third goal penalty, which Bukayo Saka and Odegaard go up to Gabriel Jesus, convincing him that, we should let Kai Havertz take the penalty. Great initiative of the team, great sportsmanship, which we wouldn't have had in this Arsenal team 3 or 4 seasons ago. No way would you see that atmosphere and that attitude in this squad. And then the fourth goal, Benny Blanco, Mr. Consistent, who hardly gets praise or credit to his name, slots one in, the fourth goal for Arsenal, and Arsenal keep a clean sheet. My Chelsea fans are laughing at our performance. Meanwhile, they have to play Fulham tomorrow. Kai Havertz scores again. Yeah, I was just going to sing the chat, but maybe I'll save it for the end. Luca, I want to ask you, in terms of the performance yesterday, I think yesterday's performance was one of the games where I saw William Saliba cruise through the game and Gabriel Magalhaes without breaking a sweat.
William Saliba, for me,
yes,
Saliba
they didn't break a sweat yesterday. Was David Raya tried and tested? No, I don't think so.
But this is the thing.
It was like a training session, really calm and composed. Didn't have much to do.
But this is the thing, and I agree with you, right? And I said this in my match reaction against Brentford, right, on Wednesday. Raya and Aaron Ramsdale have both kept clean sheets, right? And we know that Saliba and Gabriel, we know that them two are the best partnership in the Premier League, okay? Saliba and Gabriel, the two Royal Royce, you have to keep that centre-back pairing, right? You can't, when Thomas Partey does come back, Arteta should know now, right? Because when that Man United game, we were going into that Man United game thinking, is he going to put Partey at right back, right? Because for me, he went back to basics, and look at it now. We have not lost, right? Okay, yes, we dropped points against Fulham and Tottenham, but we've not lost with Ben White, Gabriel and Saliba and Zinchenko at the back, because that last season, that back four was our title team. Yes, we didn't win the league last season because we bottled it, but that was obviously challenging us with Manchester City. So therefore, you've got to keep it as basics. But getting on to the keeper-wise, will Ramsdale leave in January? No. I think a lot of people got too carried away, consider saying on social media, saying that Ramsdale's going to leave. He ain't going anywhere, right? For me right now, this is what I would do. I'd have David Raya, right, in goal for the Premier League and the Champions League, and have Ramsdale in goal for the Cups. Because we've got two good goalkeepers, right? And I think right now, Raya, yes, people could say he is a better goalkeeper than Ramsdale, but people are forgetting what Ramsdale can do. He saves moments when it happens. Look at the
big moments.
Brentford game. I said it on my channel last week against Brentford.
Wissam made a really good chance, and Ramsdale saved it. And Wemo as well challenged Ramsdale.
But this is the thing, Mel, and I agree, because Ramsdale, for me, he saves shots when it matters. He saved at the Charity Shield. We were both at the Charity Shield, and he saved it when it mattered. Look at the Emirates Cup, right?
Yeah.
He saved that as well. And I know that was only pre-season, but we've got two very good goalkeepers, right? And that's what we've been crying out for. Hence
I think the thing is, like, healthy competition is really necessary in a squad, and squad depth. Luke, like me and you, for so many seasons, we've been crying out loud for squad depth. I still don't think we have enough squad depth, to be honest. especially since we're now in the Champions League after so many years. We're back in the Champions League. We have a lot more fixtures coming up. We are still in the EFL Cup, the Carabao Cup. As Man City, Wolves have been knocked out. You know, we have to play West Ham closer to Christmas time.
I remember you said about the Carabao Cup. You said if we qualify,
yeah. So if we go through the next round, beat West Ham at the London Stadium, my recollection is that we have to play midweek every single game week, bar exception to international break, which means we'll have a midweek fixture and a Premier League fixture every single game week if we beat West Ham.
Our players will not be able to cope with that, and this is the thing. This is the thing.
Exactly. And Thomas Partey's legs are made out of string. He's not fit enough.
This is why I criticize the manager on my channel, because of squad debt. Yes, this manager has spent 200 million, right? But when you are very short with squad depth, when Timber got injured, we never really strengthened the left back. But we've done okay. And really, are we in January? We're going to need a striker, okay? There's been talks about Ollie Watkins, Pedro Neto, Ivan Toney. If we really want to win the league this season, go and prove it next week against Man City. And it's not just about beating Man City in general, right? For Arsenal to win the league this season, right, you've got to go to the Etihad, you've got to go to Anfield, and even Old Trafford, right? We haven't won at Anfield since 2012. The Etihad since 2015. Old Trafford since lockdown, right? If you don't include lockdown, 2006. So if Arsenal want to go on and win the league and get us, and look, our squad depth this season, is it good enough to win the Champions League this season? I would prioritise on the Champions League. That's a trophy what Arsenal have never won. They've been to one Champions League final in 06. And that is a trophy what I want to win. Are we going to win the Champions League? We've got a chance. I'll leave it as that. But for me,
I think as long as we make it out of the group stage of the Champions League, maybe we have a chance.
We have an opportunity now, right?
Yes.
Because we've got Lens on Tuesday. I would rest Saka. We do not need to play Saka in that game, okay? Maybe have him on the bench, but he's going to start. He's going to start because it's his Champions League. It's his first Champions League away game ever for Arsenal. And technically, maybe you can start him because we play Tuesday and Sunday. So there's a bit of a gap between Tuesday and Sunday. So hence why you could play Saka in that game. But I think Arteta's got to be cautious, right? He has to be careful because what you said is spot on, Mel. If we do go further in other cup competitions, right, then, of course, we have to rotate. And look, our squad depth isn't bad, but it's not Man City's. It's not Liverpool's, right? But we have a better squad. We have a better squad depth than Manchester United, Chelsea, Tottenham.
Oh, thanks, Charlie.
I think with Liverpool, right, we have slightly got a better squad depth than them. But Man City have pretty much taken it all far. They have a better squad depth. But I think in January, let's find out where this Arsenal side really are after Christmas. And let's hope if we're like touching distance within 2 to 5 points behind Man City, we can win this league. But in January, I want to see Ivan Toney come in, Pedro Neto, and a Thomas Partey replacement. If we get any of that in January, we can seriously challenge Man City this season.
Sorry, I just want to address this comment. First of all, thank you, Charlie, for the super chat. I really appreciate that. And hopefully you're back on YouTube soon, Charlie. I miss your watch along.
Yes, Charlie.
I was telling you, Luca, before we went live that I said I don't want to talk about this Liverpool and the officiating and not drawing the lines. But Hungy brings it up and he says, you guys, am I a bad person for having no sympathy for what happened to Liverpool, but even enjoying their outrage and tears? He says he's a Bayern fan, but in the Premier League, he supports Arsenal, which, you know, I respect to that. This comment I want to address because Arsenal had so many incorrect, incompetent officiating decisions happen last season, especially in January when we were trying and so close to that title charge and potentially lifting the title. There was one game where we had 3 officiating errors in the same game and no one did anything about it. Bobby, I mean, I guess, Bobby, of course you're happy because Son slotted it in the back of the net. Matip's mistake, and Son gets another one. And, I said it earlier on in the stream, although you're a Tottenham fan, I do see the improvement Tottenham have. And I hope you guys come back down to reality soon. I don't think you guys are a title contender, and I don't see it happening. I really hope not. I wouldn't be able to stand that. Yeah, we had it against Brentford last season in January. And I believe a few other games as well where we struggled with incompetent officiating, and all PGMOL did was say, "Oh, we're really sorry, Arsenal. Like, we're apologizing." But apologizing isn't going to give you the 3 points on the board, especially when it really mattered the most. With that being said, I want to address some of the subs that came on. We got to see Smith Rowe getting on minutes in the last few minutes of the game. He went close, so close to scoring twice, but was denied both times by Neto. Now, Neto is a player that Arsenal have been heavily linked with last season in the transfer window. And this season, right now, currently, we're hearing rumors about, Arsenal being linked to Neto again. And he could potentially be available for 60 to 70 million price tag. Now, don't quote me. I'm not a journalist. I'm not an ITK. But my personal opinion is I would definitely take Neto. I think he's coming into form again. As long as if he can stay fit and not injury prone, I think he would be a great signing to have, along with a striker in Ivan Toney or Ollie Watkins. I wouldn't mind either. We saw Aston Villa, Unai Emery's team, destroy Brighton 6-1, the most unluckiest 6-1 you could see. Brighton were just humiliated, and really incredible to see Ollie Watkins get on the score sheet a couple of times, and Douglas Luiz. Moussa Diaby has been a great signing for them, someone who we both wanted at Arsenal, but we failed to grab and take advantage of during the transfer window. In terms of Kai Havertz, I know a lot of people are saying, why are they treating him like a Make-A-Wish kid, like a special needs kid, and people are joking around about it. But I think what Arsenal did and the players did to help him gain his confidence that's been heavily deflated was a good gesture. But let's be honest, for the price that we paid for him, we paid for someone who we don't know where his best position is to play him, whether it's to play him in the left center mid, to play him in a forward position. We don't know, and that's something Arteta needs to figure out. But like I said earlier on in this stream, I don't think any player should be guaranteed a place in the starting 11. Every player should work hard for that spot in the starting 11. And I don't know if you saw this, Luca, but Declan Rice, in his post-match interview, he said that Kai Havertz does so well in training and that everyone was happy for him to score the goal. I understand that everyone being happy for him to score the goal.
I haven't seen that interview.
But for them to say that Kai Havertz does so well in training, like, I really hope that comes back and transpires on the pitch. I am, of course, going to back my team and back the players who wear the kit. So I really hope he does well and comes good for us, not just because of the price tag we paid, but because, he's playing for us and we want him to represent us properly and perform well and improve in his career. Bobby said, to be fair, with Postecoglou and Kane gone, we are supposed to be in a relegation battle, so I'm glad Angie is shutting people up. Hungy says, the Liverpool fans will always point out Martinelli's goal being offside. They were deeply hurt, so deeply hurt. Yeah, last season. I remember that. He's a baller, but the injuries are worrying. I missed Martinelli yesterday. And it's looking like, Luca, you said he should be back for the Man City game, hopefully.
Yeah, Martinelli's going to be back for Man City game. I've heard that on Twitter, that Martinelli is going to be back for Man City. And I think that's very, very, very good news for us because it is another plan B option. Trossard, for me, I would start him in the Champions League because we're going to need goals in that Champions League. And we want to, it's an opportunity to play Lens. And then the next game, I think it's Seville after that in a couple of weeks. Right after the international break. So we've got big games coming up and it's an opportunity for Martinelli to come up. There's a possibility he will come back. Would I start Martinelli in a game against Manchester City? I'd have him on the bench, to put it that way, just because he's just coming back. But I think it's good to get players coming back. Will Partey make it to the game? I think he will. But we've performed well. Well, performances wise, it's not been great, but we have been getting results without Thomas Partey. So does that show a sign how the players have managed to step up? And you've got to give credit to Mikel Arteta. I know I give the manager stick once
Yeah.
but you have to give.
Well, you give credit when and where it's due, for
exactly.
sure.
You must give him credit's due, because quite frankly, when players who have stepped, look at Fabio Vieira, right? Okay, he's not been brilliant every game, but remember when we were on Moss's watch along for the Tottenham game? I think I said Vieira was probably the best out of the bunch.
The best player. Yep.
But
and it's a shame in the second half of the Tottenham North London derby, it looked like no player really cared or wanted it more.
No.
Tottenham looked like they wanted it more than us, and we were at home. We looked like the away team. We looked like we were struggling. That's what I keep telling you. Why do we look like we're disjointed, disorganized at home? We look like we don't.
We had a situation like this before. Remember in lockdown, we lost to teams like Burnley at home, and yes, that's because we had no fans for a year and a half or so, right? But it was a kind of a similar scenario, if you picturize it, that we lost to teams like Burnley at home and Everton at home. Yes, there wasn't fans in there for a year and a half, but away from home, yes, we did lose the odd few games away from home that season in lockdown, we beat Man United away, we beat Chelsea away. So quite frankly, it proves Arteta this season knows how to sit up away from home. But last season was just was okay. We didn't win the league. We didn't get nothing out of it. But last season wasn't the aim to
I think last season we were really close. But, last season, I know it's a whole different season now, but the West Ham game, we were 2-0 up. We blew our lead. Liverpool game, we were 2-0 up.
The Liverpool game we should have won. And what really
blew our lead, and we allowed Liverpool to get back into the game. Yeah. We allowed West Ham to get back into the game, and bloody West Ham
managed the game. That's the problem.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
And we were too late to make substitutions. You saw in this Bournemouth game. I know it's only Bournemouth. But Arteta was really good at man management in this game as well. Bringing the subs on right on time, giving Smith Rowe, giving Nelson some minutes. We saw in the PSV game the same thing happen. And we have Lens away this week midweek. Hi Charlie, thanks for tuning in, and thanks a lot for the super chat. Really appreciate that. I know it's really late right now in the UK, so not a lot of people watching live. But if you are watching on the replay, do make sure to smash the like button. If you tuned in so far, let me know who is your man of the match. My man of the match is actually going to be Declan Rice. Wow. I have a celebrity in the chat, Carlito. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to come on the barbecue channel when you're ready on Chelsea Fan TV. Carlito says, Marty, yes, sticky feet, silky, and such a good player, great captain. And takes the initiative always when it matters. With that being said, my man of the match for this game is probably going to be Declan Rice. I think Declan Rice was superb. He drove to the midfield multiple times to get Arsenal moving on the ball and helped create chances for us. And notice how no one's really talking about the price tag anymore, because he's starting to perform week in and week out. We're seeing dominant displays from Declan Rice. I do need to say something about Declan Rice in this game in particular. Declan Rice was wearing like a back protection or back like something for his back injury that he sustained. So I hope he'll be fully fit for the Man City game. And it's crazy, Luca, we always mention this, whenever players come to Arsenal, they were never injured before, but whenever they wear the Arsenal kit, they start getting injured. We see it with Thomas Partey. We see it with Declan Rice.
A problem with who's in
I don't know if it's our physio team or what's going on. Hey, hope you're well. FDT says we got Lens on Tuesday. Yeah, midweek game. Really looking forward to it. And then we have a big Premier League game against Man City, who don't have Rodri, who don't have Kevin De Bruyne, who are missing Bernardo Silva, John Stones, Rodri. And Arsenal do have some players missing. I don't know if Thomas Partey is going to be back for this game. going into this Bournemouth game, Arteta said there was not going to be Saliba, there wasn't going to be Trossard, and we started to panic because no Saliba. I was really worried on what we would do defensively. But then Arteta lied to the media as usual. Arteta and lies are like 5 and 6 hand in hand, and Saliba had a dominant display. Carlito says, perfect time to strike at City. Luca, any score predictions going into the Lens game as well as Manchester City at home?
I'll come into that comment after for Carlito because I've got something more I want to say. And,
sure, go ahead.
It's a bit of mixture of positive and negative, but what I will say is going into that Lens game, I think we should rest players. I think we should rest players in that game. Not too many rest players. Like, look, Saka, of course, is going to start. He wants to play Champions League. I get that. But I wouldn't play him for 90 minutes. If we're 2-0 up or something like that at half time, if we're going to do like we did against PSV at home, give the likes of Declan Rice and Saka a rest, play for 60 minutes. If it's 0-0 or 1-1, I can understand, yes, maybe keep them on for a bit longer. But we have to be cautious. You can't literally get all these players injured. But to answer your question, Carlito, about the Man City game, perfect time to strike Man City. I was watching another channel, right? I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that. But I was watching a channel tonight, an Arsenal channel, and I'm not going to mention any names. And I kind of disagreed, right?
That's fine. Everyone has a different opinion for sure.
Even if look, this is the thing, right? I want to ask people, the audience, if we beat Man City next week, right? Would it really be embarrassing, right, if we beat for Man City? I don't think it's not embarrassing for Man City, right, to lose 3 games in a row in all competition if we somehow beat Man City. Even if Man City are without Rodri, De Bruyne, John Stones, possibly Bernardo Silva, but I don't think it's not embarrassing because I still think Man City could win the league. I still think Man City might win the league because people got to remember when Man City got rid of the likes of Mahrez, Gundogan, all them lot, right? City still have squad depth, but it's not as strong as it was last year, but they still have quality in them.
Yeah, Rodri is still suspended.
They've got Foden. They've got Jack Grealish. They've got Alves. And going into this game, what I want to see for Arsenal, I want to see the high intensity performance. We have to perform like we did against PSV Eindhoven. Okay, that is what I want to see going against Man City. I don't want none of this 1-0.
I think against Lens, I would play like a mix of a team B, like maybe rest Saka because he was limping. I mean, wait, let me correct that because I think almost every game Saka goes off limping and no one really notices it. Which is why we really needed the Saka backup, but then we kept Reece Nelson. We renewed Nelson's contract, hoping that Nelson would get more game time, and Nelson's hardly getting that. Every time Reece Nelson gets a good run of games, he gets injured. You know, I was at the game against Nottingham Forest where we won 5-0 and he had a really good game last season. I like Reece Nelson. I support all the players, but I really like our end players. And I really want them to do well and to thrive in this team. But with that being said, they have expectations they need to live up to. And if you're not performing at the level like everyone else, we don't have time to have passengers in this team, which is why I'm upset with the HAVERTZ signing so far, where he's not living up in... Sorry, my cousins are fighting in the chat. They're using different devices. They're kids. Well, not really, but teenagers. Anyway, Carlito, thanks a lot for your support. Hungy says, Rodri is so crucial to them. People are really sleeping on it. Everybody speaks about Haaland, but Rodri is their heart, makes them tick. Well, they don't have a midfield right now, and you can say their B team is just as good as their A team. But I agree with the super chat. Thanks, Mafio. He says, if we can't beat them without Rodri and KDB, it's not looking good, bruv. And seriously, that like speaks volumes. And FDT mentioned earlier, we have to take the batteries out of the robot, and that's speaking for Haaland. Just because they have Haaland doesn't mean we should be scared. I mean, we have Declan Rice, we have a good midfield. We just need Arteta to put our strongest 11 against Man City, take the batteries out of Haaland, and try our best with the midfield battle. It's all right. No need to apologize. Bronco says, what output from Havertz would be acceptable? Honestly, what, 15 GA? I don't know if that's even like I don't know if that's too much to ask for, but okay, let's, you know, like 10 GA, give me something to work with, not like where players are spoon feeding you a penalty for you to get GA. Like, I understand he's shot for confidence, but in order for you to get help from the manager and from the team, you also need to offer something and you know, bring something to the table. And I'm not trying to scapegoat him or say that he's the worst player in our team. I don't think he is. I think he'll do well in Europe, like Chelsea Perspective said. And I hope that transpires against Lens if he's going to play, which I think he will.
That PSV game, I have a question to ask before you.
He had a good performance. He was okay, like average against PSV.
You were at the game. Yeah. I tried to get a ticket and then tickets with this ballot situation. But do you feel Havertz has the style of play of playing in the Champions League? Because he won the European Cup two years ago with a team who's in 15th place, Chelsea, right? Who potentially are only 1 point ahead of Luton Town, right? But do you feel Kai Havertz has that style of play in the Champions League? Because when you get excited in the Champions League, and yes, it might not be relevant.
I think we should play Havertz up front, which is why I'm saying, you know, I think that's where he will do best. We have a Chelsea fan in the chat who actually rated Havertz to a certain extent. You know, I think that, you know, Havertz might be better to play up front as a false 9 forward. Sorry, just about this Man City game. Man City battered Wolves and were unlucky. Their keeper saved everything. Wolves scored 2 goals with 1 on target the whole game. Yeah, that's a huge point to mention. And I'm a bit nervous going into this City game, but like someone said earlier, Mafio said, you know, if we can't beat them without Rodri in their midfield, who's their glue and one of their best players, arguably their best player other than Haaland.
You can say that with Arsenal.
We will never beat them. I don't think we'll ever beat them if we can't beat them when they're at their weakest link.
If we don't beat Man City, and this is the question, right? And this is where people are, this fan base are going to get so carried away, right?
Yeah.
If we do not beat Man City, I do not want to hear no excuses from our fans saying, oh, we can still win the league. Oh, we can still win the league. Oh, we can still win the league. Because we might still win the league if we lose to City. But regardless, I would think if we don't put a single performance against Man City, look, if we lose the game and put 100, what I want to see is, right, of course I want Arsenal to win the game. But if we lose the game and we go head-to-head to Man City, remember that game when Rodri scored in the last minute? In the 21-22 season, right? I want it, if we don't win the game, we see that kind of performance. Then I say we are still gone toe to toe with the treble champions. That is what I want to see.
I think it would be a huge confidence boost as well to beat Man City in the league.
If we can beat them, huge boost.
Because then we have Liverpool coming up after that soon too, where we haven't won it. You know, we struggled to win at Anfield last season. Again, we spoke about this earlier. We were 2 goals up at Anfield, and it went to scrums because, you know, we never capitalized. We never took advantage of our chances that we have. MAA says Lens away will be the hardest game in the group because they're the only team that won't try to play. Need our best team out there. Atmosphere in the ground is terrifying too. Yeah, so when we got the group stages announced, I mentioned don't underestimate Lens away. And, you know, Sevilla too could be a tough matchup. But Lens away, I agree. Play our strongest team. I'm not sure if Saka's going to play because of I'm reading the chat. I'm not sure if Saka's going to play because of his injury. He was limping. Guys, I'm trying to be serious here, and you're making me laugh. The one time I'm trying to be professional, please. Anyway. Look at this. Help, your cousins are trolling me. Guys, come on.
Sort it out.
Yeah, sort it out in the chat. I agree too that we should play our strongest 11 against Lens. I want to see a midfield of Fabio Vieira, Declan Rice, and Odegaard. Or if Thomas Partey is back for Lens, do you think he'll be back for Lens? Then maybe put Thomas Partey in there for Lens.
I think Partey.
But some people would say ease him back and not rush him back from injury because last 2 seasons ago we experienced the same.
Read my mind.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, this is what I would have exactly said, and you read it. I think don't risk Thomas Partey in a game like against Lens. I would not risk him. I'd have him on the bench against Manchester City. But saying that, right, would you want him against Man City? Because what if Ghana call him in the international break? Have Arsenal Football Club, has Mikel Arteta, right, got the balls, right, to say to people like Thomas Partey, right, you ain't going international break, mate. You've been out for 6 weeks. These 6 weeks somehow come so quick, right? We want you to stay at Arsenal for 10 to 14 days. We want you on that Colney pitch, getting you fit. We don't want you going no international.
Yeah.
Has Arteta got
and they can refuse to take, well, I don't know if they can refuse, but maybe the player can say that he can refuse to go on the international break with Ghana. I remember the last time he went on international break, not this season, but last season, the physio team of Arsenal actually went with him because they couldn't actually trust him to come back injury free. Charlie, check your WhatsApp. MAA says, I don't think we'll see Partey until Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge. He hasn't trained in over 30 days. So he hasn't trained in over a month. So, like MAA, my friend was saying, the ITK of Arsenal Twitter, by the way, like he was saying, it's a big game. Lens away, they're strong. They're not actually going to play. And it might make it more difficult for us to break them down. With that being said, would you play an unfit Thomas Partey who hasn't trained in over 30 days at Lens away? No, probably not. Probably not against Man City, which is a very big game for us. One of the toughest fixtures we're going to come up against. And Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge, I wouldn't play him either. Chelsea away, respects to Carlito, I think they're our training ground, and we can beat them without Thomas Partey. Play Jorginho if you have to. Play Vieira. Give Vieira a chance. Luca, you were saying Vieira every time he's come on. Every time he's come on, Vieira, he's showed himself and he's shown the fitness that he has, the confidence that he has. He's building and evolving into a much better player than what we've seen, when we first signed him. When we first signed Vieira, I kept saying, this guy needs to go to the gym. He's so skinny. He's not going to make it and survive in the Premier League, and he's proved me wrong. So I do hold my hands up for that. MEA says a really funny comment. He says, the physio team follows Partey into the toilets. They never leave him alone. Carlito says, mean Lena. Yes, I am mean when I need to be. Harry Kane says, surprised Arteta's stayed undefeated so far this season. Yes, so it's only us and Tottenham that's been undefeated so far this season. Bronco in Virginia says, just like Vieira, Havertz will come well with time. But this is what I don't understand. People are saying give him time as if he's never played in the Premier League. He spent nearly 3 seasons in the Premier League. That's a bit frustrating. And I understand the price tag gives pressure to any player, any high price tag. They're expected to perform immediately. I just hope he does come good and we start playing him as a forward. I believe we should play him as. Hungy says, Vieira and Smith Rowe definitely deserve more chances with Kai's performances. That's exactly what I said at the start of the stream, that there's no excuse, no reason of validation why Smith Rowe and Reece Nelson start behind Kai Havertz. Hi, Moss. Yes, I am live after a really long time. Charlie, welcome to my channel. It's been a long time since I gone live, dude. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, Cowboys are having a really good game against Patriots, NFL. I wanted to ask you, Charlie, what'd you think of Kai Havertz getting that goal? More personally, the goal kind of being gifted to him by Saka and Odegaard. Did you make anything of it, or you just didn't care? As long as you got the goal.
That means he's better than Maddison now. That's what it means.
Well, Kai Havertz has scored. It took him 7 game weeks, but he still scored before Mudryk. Yes, Carlito, I had to get that one over you.
No, I'm very happy for him to get a goal at last. took him a while, but he scored. So yeah, brilliant.
So
I'm happy for him. It was a great win
so
as well.
for me, to be honest, I was really nervous when I know he's good at penalties, but I was nervous when he went to take the penalty. I thought he was gonna sabotage us and miss, like Jorginho giving away the ball on a silver platter to Son in the North London derby. MEA says Havertz just needs to play with smart shoes and he'll improve.
I actually had to double check my phone when it said it flashed up that he scored. I had to double check.
So Luca was at Don's, and I told Luca, like, Luca said, Odegaard's going to take the penalty. And I said, no, they're giving it to Havertz. And he said, what?
I couldn't believe it.
Believe me.
I couldn't believe it. I was at Don's yesterday. And
some fans in the chat, Charlie.
And the trouble is, I remember you kept saying to me, we've got a penalty again. And I'm like, what? 3 penalties in a game?
Yeah.
One was at Don's yesterday. And the thing is, Havertz is taking, I'm like, my face, and I'm like, I literally told the stadium, right? I was thinking Havertz has scored, and people couldn't believe it. A couple of people were staring at me while I was recording yesterday. And
did you win yesterday to the game you went to? Or nah?
No, we lost 1-0.
Nah, neither did we. So we should have stayed at home and watched Arsenal.
So both your local teams lost. I don't even want to talk about my local team. They're near relegation. They're really, really poor. Toronto FC are not good at all. I think all Toronto teams are struggling. Toronto Raptors failed to get Damian Lillard in basketball. And you guys have games on Tuesday. I believe Stevenage are playing the same time as the Lens game.
We've got Warsaw on Tuesday.
Bolton.
Oh, Bolton away.
Yeah.
That's a good away trip. Across the pond Moss says Odegaard, what a brilliant captain. Love getting Kai a goal. I really love the Kai Havertz chat, and I think my friend tweeted earlier. MAA, he said that the Kai Havertz chat is going to be used all this season, like the William Saliba tequila chat. Bronco in Virginia says, I'm surprised they haven't done that with Havertz earlier. They view him as a broken dog. He is in rehab. Everyone keeps saying that, like they're treating him like a special needs kid, like a make-a-wish
I do feel bad for him, actually. He scored the UCL winning final goal for Chelsea, and the amount of memes that are made about him is mad.
That's
if
crazy.
I was him, though, I'd be happy. If I scored a goal in the final, I wouldn't care what anyone said about me. Yeah.
I really hope he comes good. It's just a matter of hopefully him regaining his shot for confidence, and maybe we could try him forward. But in what game are you going to do that?
Suspended? I don't know. Is he suspended or something?
So apparently Kai Havertz has got 5 yellow cards, and he could be suspended. But I don't think he has 5 yellows, or else we would have heard it from Charles Watts. We would have heard it from journalists, so I don't think so. Moss says Blue Jays playoffs. We can play Minnesota too. Awesome. Yeah, I think Blue Jays are something to look forward to. DC United is trash, but no regulation for MLS. MLS are really poor. I'm not quite fond of watching it. Last season, I did go to a couple of games live, but it wasn't that fun. I guess it was more fun, pre-game and meeting some friends, and that was it.
3 yellows.
Kungi says there wouldn't be need for Havertz talk if he delivers on the pitch. 100%, and I think that's the same with every player. Bronco in
he hasn't done anything wrong, Havertz, but he hasn't done it. He hasn't really had much.
He hasn't made mistakes leading to goals.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, he basically just
Jorginho did that, like Jorginho against Tottenham. But I've been live for nearly an hour. I want to ask you guys before we wrap up the stream. I know, Luca, you don't play it, but Fantasy Premier League. Guys, this week I had an absolute nightmare in my team. I only had 53 points. I took a -4, and Rashford, Man United, it's been a great weekend, I guess. Man City lose, Man United lose, and unfortunately Tottenham win. But with VAR helping Tottenham or corrupt referees. MAA says Alba was on a hat trick once, but gave a penalty to Lacazette because he was on a goal draw. I remember that. Then Laka scored 2 the next game. Penn was sympathy, but only good can come out of it. Yeah, so that's the highlight of the stream, and kind of what I alluded to earlier was I hope it'll boost his confidence, and the chants constantly coming from the fan base will boost his confidence even more, and maybe he'll score against Lens. That's right. Let me say it on here. Kai Havertz to score against Lens away. Put that one in the bookies.
I saw the highlights though, which was we played really well on the highlights. Saka scored a header,
really
didn't
good.
he? Yeah.
Saka's header,
Ben
Odegaard's
White's header was
penalty,
really good as well.
Ben White's header in the end. People getting in the right spots in the right places at the right time. And I think this game in particular, I don't have any complaints of our defense for the first time this season. Defensively solid performance, a 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10 performance. David Raya was
so
very
good.
calm and composed. Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes and Ben White even, Mr. Consistent. They barely get praise because of the man beside them, William Saliba. He's so good. His recovery, like the pace and the recovery tackles he makes, it's really good. And I hope he even said himself he wants to be the best center back in the world. And you can see at that young age he has so much ambition. And the loan spells, getting loaned out 3 times.
Saliba is the best centre back in the world?
I think he's one of the best young centre backs in the world, but not the best centre back in the world.
He's got potential though.
He's got potential.
I was gonna, this comment said as well. Our away form's really good, but our home form we have dropped a few points. So hopefully we can.
So I
feel
was
like at the Emirates
for
we're
the
not as
Man
good.
City game, we should play it at like Wembley or something, a neutral ground, because we struggle to play at home. Or why can't we play at the Etihad twice instead of playing at home?
Last season, Southampton, we dropped points.
We're really good on the road.
A couple of others as well. Yeah, our 100% our away form's really stepped up.
Yeah, I can't stand United either, and I live with United fans, unfortunately. Sean says, Havertz has been surprisingly really good with his defensive awareness. I never associated Havertz with being defensively solid before Arteta started training him. I do agree with that to a certain extent, but I don't think. See, the thing is, people are saying he was signed to play the Xhaka replacement, and I don't think he can even lace Xhaka's boots at the moment. Hopefully, we see him improve and become a player in his own. But I think I've had enough of talking about Havertz for the past half an hour now. Charlie, any final thoughts of the game? Who was your man of the match if you had to pick one, by the way?
I didn't watch the full game, but it sounds like it was really good professional performance. So we'll definitely take that. Smith Rowe was crying at the end of the game, which looked a bit worrying, but
he missed 2 chances. He had good opportunities as well. Smith Rowe.
That's what Havertz. I feel like Havertz is playing it too safe at the moment. He's not taking enough risks. I don't know. Smith Rowe seems like he just looks lazy. Directness.
Like Havertz just looks lazy oftentimes. I am going to link your channels in the chat so people can subscribe.
He's not doing anything wrong, but he's just not. For a midfielder, he needs to impact the game a lot more. But really good performance from Arsenal. Great winning to win. Consider Man City dropped points as well, and we're right on their tails now. So let's get
we're joint on points Sunday. Now with Tottenham.
There's areas to exploit. I feel like Man City. Difference. We can hurt Man City. They can hurt us, of course, but I feel like we need to play. We can give them a good game.
I think it's just goal difference that differs us and Tottenham.
What we need really is Partey back. I know he's made of glass, but we need him back next to Rice and Odegaard in front of him. Back to that again.
My friend was saying he hasn't trained in over a month, 30 days. He hasn't trained. Dear. So it's going to take him a while to get match fitness. Julian Timber, we don't have any update on that, whether he's touched pitch. I know last week against Tottenham, he went to Ajax for the closing ceremony, like a goodbye ceremony, and that Ajax game was turned a mess. Fans broke into the stadium. It was wild, and United fans were saying that's what the Glazers should do. Hungy, I'm very sorry. I think people are just trolling in the chat. Across the pond, Moss says Arsenal ladies lost to Liverpool today. Yeah, they lost 1-0. It was the opening of the Women's League. I am going to be covering some women's content on Vada London podcast. It's in Tamil language, so it's not going to be in English. But if you do understand the language, feel free to join. Moss says Odegaard's amazing. Where are you, Bargab? It's crazy how much stick some of our players get, even when they're performing really well. But with that being said, I am going to wrap up the stream. Luca, I'll come to you. Do you want to shout out your channel and where people can find you, as well as any streams you have coming up, please?
Yeah, people in the comments, you let me start again. People in the comments, I'm half asleep. People in the comments, right? Subscribe to my channel, Luca AFC, of course. If you haven't gone and checked my latest content, please follow me on YouTube. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. Remember, people, as I keep asking, turn the notifications on so you never miss a brand new upload. But Mel, thank you very much for having me on. Great stream, and up the Arsenal.
Charlie, how about you? Your channel, your Instagram?
It's just
Your
FGT.
Twitter?
I don't really upload anymore, but you can find me on Twitter at Charlie Temple 17. I think I don't even know.
Yeah,
but I tweet on there sometimes. But that's
and you
about
tweet
it,
about
really.
Stevenage games too.
Yeah, and Arsenal.
And Arsenal. So do
Yeah,
follow Charlie on Twitter. Hopefully he's back uploading on YouTube again. He did really good watch longs last season, and I think the season before as well. We were all on it, and even Jordan, a good friend of ours, a lot of laughs, even through the pain of being in Europa League. Hopefully we're not back in Europa League for the time being. I'm tired of hearing the Europa League anthem. Liverpool fans enjoy it. I think they might win Europa League. They're looking good. Look at this, Lucas. Somebody says, Lucas, stay positive on Twitter, my guy.
Hold on a minute, yeah? I want to hold on a minute. Big up to you, Bronco. I hope you're keeping well, right? Thank you very much for asking it. Is that why people have not liked my tweets? Is that why people have not liked my tweets? Is that why?
Everybody knows you. You're famous.
Everybody knows, man.
Mr. Negative.
Everybody thinks I'm a League Gunner 2.0. Nah, it's all good, man. It's all good.
Yeah, my cousin subscribed.
Thank you, man.
But thanks everyone who tuned in. Thanks for all the super chats from Mafio, Charlie, and Chelsea Perspective, Coachella.
No worries.
Thanks for Carlito and everyone who joined in the chat. This has been a great stream of a lot of laughs. Shout out to the people who joined from Twitter. My socials are Miss Melina on Twitter, Miss Melina on YouTube. I just recently reached 6,000 subscribers, and I'll be live again after the Lens game for my match reaction, possibly the day after. Take care, everyone. Have a good night. And hi, Jordan. I'm just ending the stream now, bro. Where have you been for the last hour? I'll see you guys next time for Lens away. Come on, you Gunners, and let's go get a win against Lens. Big game coming up, and then the big one, Manchester City. Take care, everyone, and have a good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.